we're going to be talking about the 1-month review on my 2022 GR Toyota Supra. There are several things that I have loved about this car, and I want to share all of them in depth with you. There are also some nuances of things that maybe I just don't like quite as much, so if you guys are in the market for a 2022 or 2023 Toyota Supra or a used Supra, whatever you're in the market for and you want to know about Supras, this is the video to watch. Let's get into it. So let's jump into the things that have stood out to me that I've liked. The first thing is the power. This is the B58 engine from BMW, and one thing to know about BMW is they vastly underrate the horsepower of their cars. So it's rated at 382 to the crank. That's actually more like to the wheels, if not more. The power of this car, the turbo, there's very minimal turbo lag. This car throws you back in your seat. Like it is powerful, and I didn't realize how powerful it was until really I was able to get up in the higher RPMs after the braking period. But just a single turbo twin scroll, this car puts out a lot of torque. It doesn't leave me wanting necessarily, a V8. Like, it really scratches that itch from a power perspective. It throws you back in your seat, it stays planted, and the power of this car and the torque is just insane. The second thing is the styling. This car honestly gets more attention than any of the cars that I've owned. If you haven't seen one of these in person, you have to see one, because if you're on the fence about the looks of them, you don't like them, fake vents this, or too many different body lines, these cars in person, as dumb as it sounds and as crazy as it sounds, look like a supercar, and they are just so beautiful. The styling of this car on the outside, I think they just nailed it, and I love how this car looks. The next thing that, it might be really weird, but the gas cap holder, like, it is one of the most coolest designs for gas cap holder. There's a lot of hooks that manufacturers have, different stuff. You guys might not be into that, but that's one thing that just really have enjoyed about the car when I get gas. It is just so nice because it doesn't scratch my paint. It keeps it really easy, out of the way. I like it. I dig it. The next thing that I really like about this car, so I am, most of my cars have always been manual transmissions. I love manuals. The shifter in this car really resembles the feel of holding a manual transmission shift knob. And it has taken me some time to get used to, but based on how the functionality of the shifter is, it really doesn't make me long for a manual in this car. As dumb as that sounds, as crazy as that sounds, the automatic paired with this car, there's a reason, and I'll share it in a future video, of why I went with the automatic, and it just pairs so well. But the shifter, it's not like your standard shifter that you see in some other brands of cars. It really, when you hold it, it really resembles like you're holding, a shifter in a manual car, and I've actually really liked it. Another things that I love about this car is it won't shift for you in sport mode. It won't go to the next gear, it'll hold it. So I really love that. Gas mileage in this car, for the power that this car puts out, this car will compete against any of the cars that I've owned, a Camaro, a Mustang, a Challenger, in terms of speed, in terms of going fast. This car will not only keep up, if not be faster than those cars, but it also gets a lot better fuel economy. I have gotten close to 30 miles a gallon around town on the highway. Even when I'm getting after the car, I'm still getting low to mid 20s in terms of MPGs. I've yet to do like a super long road trip, but I guarantee you this car could probably push low to mid 30s if you baby it on the freeway. So to be able to have that power and get that gas mileage, I think is huge. Another thing that I like, and this one definitely might not strike a chord with some of you, is the car is actually, there's enough space in it. And what I mean by that is I've been able to fit my golf clubs in there. There's a ton of headroom. Even though it doesn't look like it, there's a ton of headroom in this car. Seats, I am in a comfortable position with my seat in there. Now, I'm coming from sports cars, guys. I'm coming from a Camaro, and I'll share a video later on about who a Supra is a good fit for if you're coming from a Challenger, a Mustang, or a Camaro. But so far, the space has been really decent in the car. And guys, this is a sports car, so you're not going to have a lot of storage space. You're not going to have a lot of stuff. What I'm saying is I'm comfortable driving the car. I'm comfortable from my seating position. I have enough room. and it's comfortable. And the seats are actually very comfortable in the car. Let's get on to some of the nuances, or maybe things that I'm nitpicking a little bit about the car. It doesn't necessarily mean I hate it. I just want to be able to provide that information. So if you guys are in the market for one of these, it might help you during your purchase decision. The first is, this is the lowest car that I've owned in stock form. From my Challenger, my Mustang, and my Camaro, this car I have to be probably the most careful with in terms of scraping is I'm coming off of a parking lot or wherever I'm coming, or if there's a dip in the road, this car is the easiest to bottom out of all of them. The second thing, on the interior, I don't know why manufacturers do this, but it's a pet peeve of mine. I do not like piano black in terms of the interior. There's a decent amount of it on the doors. The reason I don't like it is because it shows everything. It shows fingerprints. You can never get it clean. I've had to change some of my interior cleaners because of the plastics on the car and the piano black, and there are some components inside the car that just kind of make it feel cheap on the interior. Something to know is I do have the 3.0 version of the Supra, but it isn't the premium. It's more the base model, but it still has a lot of the same stuff that the premium has. Another thing that has really stood out to me is, as you guys have watched my channel, you know that I've always upgraded the sound system, added subwoofers and things to it. The base 3.0 has the worst stereo of the newer cars that I've purchased in the last couple of years, and I've gone through a few. And that's saying a lot, because usually I can work with it. I can add a powered subwoofer, I can add something. This is the first car that I have wanted to completely change out the speakers and upgrade the stereo. Not a deal breaker, but something to be aware about. This next one is just really how a lot of cars are today. I hate auto stop and start. If anybody likes that feature, you're dumb. I'm sorry, you're dumb. I can't stand it. It drives me nuts. Now, it won't remember it. If you put it in sport mode, it takes it off. If you disable it, it takes it off, but it won't remember it. So auto stop and start, it's hard for me to get used to. I just still don't like it. I wish there was a way to, and I think there are ways to completely disable it, but that's nothing of fault of the Supra. In today's world, if you're getting an auto stop and start, what I really wonder is how much gas mileage is that really saving you? Is it really better for the economy? What does that do to your starter over time? But it bugs me. Something to keep in mind, the door sills on this car and the window, if you're getting fast food somewhere or wherever, they're not even going to be able to see your eyes. Like, your eyes are going to be staring at the top of your headliner. I have a big head, not going to lie. Insert my "so I married an axe murderer" comment here.
William, move your head. Look at the size of that boy's head. Shh. I'm not kidding, it's like an orange on a toothpick.
Shh, you're gonna give the boy a complex.
Well, that's a huge noggin. It's a virtual planetoid. Has its own weather system. Head, move!
But I have a larger head. It's a tall head, and my head literally from top to bottom can't fit through the window. It can't. I have to hold it to the side. So not a lot of space when it comes to your head and window right there. The manual to auto, and moving from a manual transmission to an auto, I've had a hard time with it. I worry I'm gonna hurt the transmission, because there's been a couple times on the shifter, it's taken me a minute to understand the park and the reverse and get used to it. I'm just so used to just a mechanical, put it in reverse, put it in first gear and go. But there's been a couple times I've hit the park brake too soon as I'm pulling into the garage, and I'm like, no, Austin, you're gonna mess something up. Electronics. This car has a lot of electronics. There is no dipstick to measure oil on this car. It is just measured by a computer. Some of the gauges in there are a little interesting, like, when you're pulling up too close to somebody, and it alerts you, to stop really quick. It almost looks like an old 90s videos game. It's kind of cool, but there's a lot of, there's a lot of readouts from the car. I really wish it had kind of more like a boost gauge or something that's fun, but the gauge cluster does look pretty cool. I do like it. Sometimes with my seat, it does touch the back bar. There's a bar that kind of goes across the back of the car, and it'll kind of make some sounds. Now I could solve that by moving my seat forward, but just a small thing. And the last thing that I want to add is wind buffeting. Wind buffeting is that sound when you guys roll down your windows and it just, vibrates your eardrums, and it's real on this car. There's some cheap fixes on Amazon just for a few bucks, but the wind buffeting on this car above 20-30 miles an hour, it's real and it's bad, and but it's an easy fix. So those are some things that I've loved about this car. I do not regret buying this car. This car has been a lot of fun. It is sexy, it is sleek, it is fun, it is powerful, it scratches all of the things that I want to talk about. Oh, and before I don't know why I didn't add this on my list, I'm sorry, but hold on. The exhaust on this car. This is the first car I've wanted to really put an exhaust on. There was a video that was published, and I'm going to try and find it throughout in this video, comparing the 2.0 exhaust versus the 3.0. Now, I'm not saying this is a slouch by any means. It's a V6, but I honestly, with my Camaro, my Mustang, and my Challenger, love the sound of all of them. I'm good with their stock sound. I am. I'm not that picky when it comes to that. But with this car, I feel like the videos that I watched on it, I don't know if they had a cat mic or something right next to the exhaust, but this car isn't necessarily as loud as I want it to be. Those are the things that I love, guys. Those are maybe some nuances, some nitpicks. I've owned the car now. Let's see, it's August. I bought it in August. It's now November. You know, I've owned it for a couple months, put a couple thousand miles on it. I'll give you guys an update here in another month as I drive it more, but this car is a lot of fun. It is hard to be able to use all of its power because this car, it moves. I hope you guys liked today's video. Please like this video. Please comment. Subscribe if you haven't to my channel. I got a lot more Supra content. Have RX-8 content, RSX content, manuals, autos, horsepower. Let's go. Thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you on the next video.